This program is designed to provide general information with regards to the subject matters covered. This information is given with the understanding that neither the hosts, guests, sponsors, or station are engaged in rendering any specific and personal, medical, financial, legal, counseling, professional service, or any advice. You should seek the services of competent professionals before applying or trying any suggested ideas.
Hey there, it's Brian Sebastian, Movie Reviews and More, live on K4HD, radio and podcasting, Talk for Media, TV, radio and podcasting, streaming worldwide on IT247 out of Franklin, Tennessee, iHeartRadio, all the platforms, over 100 platforms around the world, which is nice. And I'm live from Eastline, Connecticut. And sitting next to me is my good friend who I marched in a band with, Rob Wilson. And I'm glad to be here because I stayed an extra day, which is good. Rob, I think we'll get along with Howard Wiggins, which will be quite interesting. Mm-hmm. And the one thing about this is I was telling Rob about Howard Wiggins in Nashville, Tennessee. So, Howard, you're going to come up to Connecticut sometime next year, and then Rob and Pam will probably go down to Nashville in October. That's the plan. Awesome. Rachel Recipes out of Houston, Texas, with Sheri Jacobs with 2 of her books. Funny girl. Very pretty, and we like what she has to offer down there. Vocally Tosh from Miami, Florida. It's good to see what she's doing. She's got stuff to talk about. Derrick Carter, Susan from Beloit, Wisconsin. I can't wait to hear about this because it's all about helping kids. And I really like what you guys have to offer. Wait. So, nonstop, Terri Marie. Terri, you look good, and I know you're going out to represent us tonight.
Yes.
From Redondo Beach, California, and the one and only Angelica Robles. Angelica, it's good to see you. So let's kick this off. I got to start with Howard Wiggins. And the reason I got to start with Howard is because, Howard, you're doing a lot of great stuff. I tell everybody about you. You're always, in my mind, you look like Sean Connery. You look like a bunch of everybody that I can think of. You got some fascinating stories, and you got a thing called Howard's Corners that I like to talk about, but you named it something else. What did you name it?
Anytime with Howard Wiggins, which is based on one of Eddie Arnold's and my father's songs. And that's what I want to call it. Anytime with Howard Wiggins.
All right, talk about this. Next week, we're going to put a bunch of photos up with you. Talk about why you're there. You're actually Nashville royalty. You've done a lot of stuff. People really like you. Why is that?
I was on Nashville Entertainment Weekly for about 3 or 4 years, which is a local TV show here. And that's probably it. And I've always lived in the same place, so I know everybody in town. So, and I live my life pretty fabulously. In simple fact. Yeah.
So, Angelica, you popped up all of a sudden. I'm going to go to Angelica, and then I'm going to go to Derrick and Susan. All right, so let's talk about this. International best-selling author, Through These Brown Eyes, through Hasmark Publishing. Talk about what's going on with you. You got a lot of good stuff going on, and you look nice tonight.
Thank you. Yeah, I was running around with my kids. So I'm actually starting the Audible on Thursday. We're going to try to knock it out Thursday, Friday. So I wanted to send a shout out to Barron Studios, the original Barron Studios in Houston, who have produced a lot of very big artists here in Houston. And so I'm starting the Audible, and it's supposed to be done by next week, uploaded and ready to just be out to the world. So everybody's excited about the Audible because nobody likes to read nowadays.
Well, I changed that because of Rob and because of being here in Eastline. I found a beautiful place that I really like called the Book Barn. They have 3 stores here, bookstores. So next year, anybody who's got the book coming out, we're going to be going there sometime in June. We just haven't picked the date yet. So that's it. Howard, I can't wait to have you. Hey, you ever been in Connecticut, Howard?
No, I've hardly been anywhere to tell the truth.
All right, you're going. because I told Rob we have to have Howard up there. So you're going next year.
Howard, we're looking forward to having you, and Angelica. There's a bunch of bookstores here that would host you as having a book signing. So
I've got several.
We would love that. Yeah.
Great.
So Susan Day, talk about what you do, and Derrick chime in right after that.
So I'm the career development director for an organization called Hendricks Career Tek in Beloit, and we provide career exploration opportunities for youth in our area. We work with students grades 6 through 12, all the way actually up to age 21. And that can look like many things. During middle school years, we do a lot of summer academies, which we're just going to start wrapping up soon here. And then during the day or during the school year, we do a lot of after school programming. And we concentrate on 3 different areas: healthcare, advanced manufacturing, and IT, and the trades. And so those are, we do work with other areas, but those are just kind of our major pillars. So in the high school level, we really work on career exploration, but also job readiness skills, just giving students an opportunity to explore and have experiences before they graduate from high school, so they have a better understanding of what they want to do after they graduate. And we always say we support a student no matter what their decision is. It could be they do want to go to a 4-year college or a 2-year tech school. Maybe they're going to go into an apprenticeship. But if they want a full-time job right out of the gates, that is, that's awesome too. We will help them with that. So Derrick, I'm not sure if you want to add anything to that.
The only thing I just want to add is that we're very fortunate. First of all, I'm Derrick Carter. I'm the director of the Hendricks Career Tek, and we're very fortunate that we can provide all of these programs for free. We are funded by the Hendricks Family Foundation, and there's no cost to the students or their parents for any of our programs. This summer, as Susan mentioned, we have our summer academies. We are fortunate to have 18 different academies ranging from culinary, HVAC, welding, automotive, so just a variety of things that we encourage students to just explore, to see if it's something that they like and that we would like for them to really get a chance to understand that it's important to know what you don't want to do as it is to know what you do want to do. So by going through these programs, it gives them an opportunity to just simply explore, learn something in the process, and most importantly, have fun.
So with Sheri, let's test your sound, see how everything's going. How do you like that idea? Because you have a kid's book. This is all about helping kids. So Angelica and Terri, when we were in Beloit, I walked into the wrong office, and I walked in and I met Susan. And I'm like, oh, I like this. I don't even know what it is. I thought it was Romper Room. And then, I speak to Derrick. I'm like, we got to do this. We got to help them because it's all about helping kids.
I do.
Brian, romper, stomper, bumper, boo. Tell me too. Yeah.
It is about that. But that's so. I've been waiting to have because it's important. It's important, and we are going back, Derrick.
I don't know how much.
Going back to Beloit next year again. So I really want to do something like that. So Sheri, let's test your volume. Let's talk about your kids' book. Go ahead. So we might have some issues in there. Show your kids' book up. Let me see your kids' book.
There we go.
Right.
Talk about why that's important, because this fits right into what Derrick and Susan are talking about.
Can you hear me? Yes. So, being right is the children that house children to face using the power of their mouth to also using to make them the fear of a story coming in room, and they can write a different story that they want to experience now, and they can dance when the bear has cookies with you. So it's a form of cognitive behavioral psychology too. But when I discovered the power of writing to make our fears, I wanted to with young children and to help them control and see the pen pencil as a sword to empower them.
Here's what we're gonna do, because you came in a
And
little
so
choppy,
the
Sheri.
story, there's a prompt.
Here's what we're gonna do, because you came in a little bit choppy. I'm gonna see if you can send Derrick and Susan a copy of your book for the kids that they have there in Beloit. Let's see if they like that, and if they like to put that where they are, because I think that would be great. And then we're gonna come back to you. And then we're gonna come back to you. So Angelica, let's talk about your book. Go ahead and go for it.
So, so much has transpired since the book came out. The book came out in December or November of last year. And so much has happened that I literally have content for a second and third and a fourth book, which we'll get to that. But I'm excited for the book. The audio, like I said, the Audible's coming out. It's the story about my life as an undercover agent and just trauma that I dealt with growing up and everything that comes with working for the government as a Hispanic woman, and then just learning through life and just trauma and how to deal with things, and then towards the end, the big ending, which people still have questions about. But something that I haven't said before that I'm able to say now is, after the first book, I actually went under federal investigation and had to deal with that. And so that's another untold story that's kind of sitting there and lingering there. Since then, obviously, the investigation is over, but it's a precinct to the ending of the book. So, yeah.
So, all right.
You're
So,
going to make a movie too, right?
Okay,
yes, we're still in the works for that. And as we all know, Hollywood is a tough place, and there's contracts involved, and so we're still working either on a Netflix series or a movie deal, but we're leaning more towards a Netflix type series.
All right, so locally, Tosh, talk about what you're doing, what's happening, what's coming up at the end of this month.
Oh, lots of great stuff are actually happening. So next week, I'm preparing, because next week I'm flying out to New York to perform in Times Square for the filming of season 7 of Wonderama, which is really exciting. We had talked to Chuck around December last year, so I'm happy that he really liked my music and invited me to go and perform there. So I'm already feeling all the nerves, I already feel all the butterflies. I'm already like hyperventilating at night, but I think it's all gonna be worth it once I'm on the stage. And the fact that the audience is kids, like, I am so excited for that, because kids literally they have so much great energy, and I feel like that energy from that whole crowd of kids is gonna make me even shine like brighter. So I'm very happy. I'm excited for that. And I mean, Angelica was supposed to come with me to New York, but it's okay. We are planning on doing something really big for the Latin Grammys in November in Vegas. She invited me, her friend invited her, and everything was like, oh, Tasha's a singer, and it's like the Latin Grammy, so why don't we bring her along to like maybe perform during the Latin Music Week in Vegas. So right now I have a GoFundMe page trying to help me, because it's like $3,600 to get there with like promotions and all that stuff. So, I set up a GoFundMe page, and so far people have been really been giving and very nice and supportive. So very happy about that. Anyone who would share it, you don't have to donate, just share it. Share it. People will donate themselves, and I'm excited. I'm happy. There's a lot of great stuff happening. Oh, and I can't forget about Yvette's The Envoy magazine. Mm-hmm. It came out in July. She only publishes 3 times a year, and I was able to be honored to be part of one of the artists spotlight, and she did such a beautiful cover, beautiful story. And I invite you guys to subscribe to it, and thank you, Yvette, if you're watching. But this is really awesome. It's about minorities, entrepreneurship, just a lot of great people and a lot of great stories in her magazines. So yeah, that's a whole.
And then Terri, before we get you, let me see if Rachel, let me see what your volume sounds like. Rachel, can you talk about what you do, maybe?
I'm great. Can you guys hear me?
Rachel, talk about what you do.
No. Okay. I'll show you. I cook.
There we go. Food.
So yeah. Yes. Food. Cocktails. Where did it go?
That looks like tacos.
Oh,
Yes. Tacos.
All right, so the thing about that with Rachel, Derrick, and Susan is it's always about eating clean and drinking dirty, as she would say. So for kids, it's always about fitness and things like that, and which is what Terri does. Terri, I'm coming to you in 30 seconds.
Okay.
But Derrick and Susan, when it comes to Wonder Armor, that's a show based on kids. That's one of our friends, Charles Armstrong, out of New York. And if you remember that show, it's been on since the 50s. So Charles Armstrong was on our show in November. Tosh was on. Terri was on. Don't know if Angelica was on. And then he was looking for acts. He's always looking for things to help kids. One of their kids has 25 million followers. The worst kid has 1 million followers. Think about that. And so when it comes to all those things like that, it's actually really, really good when it comes to things. It's all about helping kids, and that's where I'm really happy about that. So Terri, talk about this. We're going to go to Derrick and Susan again and try to go back to Rachel. Talk about your designs, what you're doing.
Well, it's still a little bit premature. I can't really talk about it.
It's never premature to talk about art. You can always talk about it.
I can't talk about it for 2 more weeks. I can tell you that Carl and I are going to be launching everything in 2 weeks. It's going to be on the block. It's kind of like trademarking something, because when you work on something like this, especially with NFTs, you want to keep your ideas quiet until they're released, because it's an original idea. I'm very proud of it. I'll just say that we're going to be doing probably a launch party in August with another artist, a friend of Carl's. I'm just going to do what I'm supposed to do, which I promise I keep my mouth shut for another 2 weeks. And then when it's launched, I will be presenting some of the NFTs so you guys can all see them. But tonight I'm going to be going on to the Game On Gala in LA for the ESPYs red carpet event. So I'm kind of looking forward to that.
Yes, and you'll represent as well. All right, go, Rob. Go ahead.
Terri, do you have a sheet over it and they whip it off to show the thing at the end?
No. This is all digital art. This is an NFT.
Oh, it's digital art.
And I'll explain a little bit about what we're doing. So I'm creating a story, and there's different characters. All the characters represent some type of human behavior. You can, everybody can interpret the art and the story on how they want to, on what it means. We're hoping that, it can go in a lot of different directions. Right now, it's just a story, because really the way to sell the art is to have the story behind it for each character. Each character, there's just one of the characters, so they're all original. And hopefully that will block out to maybe a video game or a movie, or there's lots of avenues that can go. So it's a project that's I'm really excited about. So that's about all I can say.
Derrick and Susan, now that you met everybody, a lot of it is geared towards children. Angelica's is kind of how she grew up as a child, but morphed into something else. But then she's got 2 kids, and she's going into something else that she's doing. Terri comes from the eating clean, the fitness world, but she does red carpets. Angelica is that vocally Tosh is that singer when it comes to things like that. But it's always about books. It's about art. Howard has got some really interesting things, and obviously Rachel and Sheri out of Houston, Rachel's got kids. Sheri's got a kid's book, but she's also got another book that's geared towards adults, if I'm correct on that. And she's frozen. So, Derrick, what do you think about that so far?
Well, the one thing that I like about it is that Career Tek is about, again, career exploration. And so we want to bring new and creative ideas to students in terms of possible careers, because oftentimes students, they get into the traditional type of careers, even within an industry. So, for example, when you talk about healthcare, if you ask someone, what do they want to be in healthcare, it's either a doctor or a nurse. And there's so many other different careers within the healthcare industry that students just don't know about. In fact, we had a flight med nurse and pilot come to talk to the kids about that type of career. So when you look at what these folks are doing in terms of authoring books, singing, and things of that nature, I think it really fits well with what we're trying to do, is just expose kids to different types of careers and being creative in doing so. Susan, I don't know if there's anything you want to, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Well, as the career development director, I'm always looking for people to help us out with giving students experiences, and I'm trying to network continuously. This is a big deal to possibly have, connections throughout the country. And so virtually, as we know, students and adults are more comfortable with Zooming or having, meetings virtually. So if anybody ever wants to talk with some students about your career, I'd love to have your contact information, and we can definitely make that happen. So,
Sheri, do we have good? Let's see. Let's try you again. Maybe not.
Derrick, I just want to get back to you on this, because it's a huge deal. Not everybody is a college person. So many kids, you can't find an electrician or a plumber.
Right.
You can't find, we have Lifestar here in Connecticut. But all of the things that go along with that are so instrumental in getting the job done. And I think that you guys are right on top of it. That's exactly what a lot of kids need, because they're not the college person, but they could get some education and put themselves in a great position to have a great career. So you guys are on top of it.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. And in fact, one of the things that we try to help promote, while we cannot have our own youth apprenticeship program, we're very instrumental in helping support that. And we work with various companies like Frito-Lay, as an example, who has a youth learner/youth apprenticeship program. And it's about encouraging young people to understand that that's an opportunity where if they actually start as a junior, work 450 hours, during their junior year, they're going to get paid probably $12 to $15 an hour while they're working. They do that for actually 2 years, a junior and a senior year. They're going to earn those hours towards their registered apprenticeship program. And then a company like a Frito-Lay, upon graduation, they may hire that student if they do a good job during those 2 years in junior, senior year. And they will then work for Frito-Lay for 4 days a week, go to school the 5th day. Frito-Lay will basically pay for that student to go to school. And so when they graduate from college, a 2-year college, they will basically have their journeyman card and no debt, and probably making $30-$40 an hour. You
can't make that up. That is phenomenal.
Yeah.
That's the right way to be doing it, because kids these days don't understand that what the debt means and how long it takes to pay it off, if you pay it off, and whether you can get a mortgage or not, or how that works. So that's a program that is worth $1 million. You guys are on the right track.
Thank you. We appreciate that.
Rob, talk about what you do. So Rob's lived here all his life. And it's interesting because he's like that guy that knows everybody and everybody knows him. But I'm so proud of him because I haven't seen him in a while. So when I started changing things around, he came to California when I was in Los Angeles doing stuff. In 2015, we found out,
right,
which is where we are today. Talk about what you've done and what you're doing now.
Brian and I, when he moved to East Lyme, we played drums in the best band in Connecticut. At the time, high school bands were huge, and we kicked ass. So we were drummers, and we had a high school prom alternative party at my parents' house that they didn't know about. And we lost those things, but we're not going to worry about that now. It's over. But I was a police officer for 21 years and then worked for the town for another 15. But I have 4 children, and they're all doing well. But and I have a great partner here, Pam. And but what I want to tell you is that this guy has done a great job, and you know what? We've traveled around town. He's got to see everybody that he can see, and we got a good friend here, Rob Funk, who played trombone with us. That's sitting in the background, and very, very happy to meet all of you. And I've talked to a bunch of you on our way to pick up my son at Bradley International. So I appreciate it, and thank you very much. And I hope to be on again.
And so for Derrick and Susan and Rachel and Sheri, this is all about helping kids, whether it's, being an author, being in music, vocally Tosh, artist, me being that drummer, I call Howard the entertainment. I don't think there's anything Howard can't do. Howard to me is fascinating, so fascinating. And again, it's about helping the kids. So anything that I can do to help you guys. And yes, we will be back to Beloit next February.
Howard, if I knew I was supposed to be dressed up this much, I wouldn't know that.
I dress up every single day.
I did the 06357 because that's where we are. That's where we are. Yeah.
Hey, Howard, talk about this. This is important. Talk about what did the arts mean to you growing up with a musical family?
Oh, my goodness. What she said is true. I started off being a veterinarian, and I went to college for 1 year, and I called home and I said, I don't want to be a vet, not at all. And they said, well, there's a design school opening up down the street. Would you like to do that? So I said, yeah. And I went to O'Moore Interior Design in Franklin, and that's where I found my passion. But then later in life, like when I retired, 65, which was 4 years ago nearly, it's changed. I mean, now I'm an actor, model, whatever comes my way. Podcast person, thanks to you. So I'm enjoying life, and that's what it's about. And sometimes you like you said, you're not aware of other potentials that you have until you actually explore them, and then find out, hey, I'm good at that. So,
hey, yeah. Vocally Tosh, talk about being that musical person. Talk about being that influencer that you are now. Why it's important, and why you're talking about that. I'm going to have DJ show a couple things. Why I'm proud of what you're doing.
Yeah, well, I mean, what Howard was saying is so true, because I had nothing like to do with like radio or podcasts like that until I worked at a radio station in Miami. And I started working at a radio station in Miami, and then I was like, wow, I can actually like there's like careers in like talking to people through the radio. And I had no idea that was happening. So when I met Brian back in 2020, he invited me to be like his co-host. And I was like, you know what? Like, I really had a passion for it when I was working in the radio. So I gave it a shot, and here I am. So podcaster, interviewer, co-host, check on that. And then music has always been my main top passion, and I started pursuing it as soon as I graduated college. I mean, I was in band. I played the French horn in middle school.
You did not, did you?
I did. I played it all of my 8th grade, and I had some nice muscles because of carrying that big case of French horn. Got me some nice little muscles as an 8th grader, and that's how I kind of grew to loving music. I loved band, but I didn't really realize that I also enjoyed singing, and a lot of people said that I had a really nice voice. So that's when I joined chorus in high school. College, I had nothing to do with music during college. I kind of had a fallback when I was searching for colleges, like music colleges, and I picked it back up as soon as I graduated. I hated my corporate job. I studied public relations, and I still use it now for my music. But when I was doing it, I was like, why did I even go to school? I I'm in like 30, 40 grand debt, and I'm not even doing anything with my career at the moment. Like, I'm a bartender right now. I quit my corporate job and I decided to pursue my music, and I have zero regrets. I was very scared when I did it, but I am so happy what I've accomplished so far. Like, I've been on Telemundo. I only have 3 songs out, and it's Latin music. So Derrick and Susan, I invite you guys to listen. It's very tropical, a little bit of urban Latin in there, very fun. It's all in Spanish, but I know you can, get that vibe off of the tropical beats and all that stuff. So so that's how my whole career has been unfolding. I mean, I was invited to New York next week, and then Vegas in November. So I feel like everything is falling into place. But what is super important to me is to enjoy the journey and not be like super aggressive on, oh, I should be here already. I should be selling out shows already. I should be here. So it's just all about enjoying the journey. And if you're happy with it, and I'm super happy with what I'm doing, and, everything is going to come to you, speak it into the universe. I'm huge in manifesting. And yeah, man, I'm proud. Brian has been such a power movement when it comes to my music. He was the first person that interviewed me when I released my first song. So, it's always been constant support from him, and then from everybody from the team here, Terri, Angelica, Rachel, even Howard. Howard already is like, I need you to make a TikTok reel for one of my songs for Suéltate, Howard.
Yes.
I'm waiting for it. I need you to.
You want me to dance to it?
Hey, listen, when you hit your first #1 hit, I want you to buy a big Viking refrigerator so you can buy more refrigerator magnets.
Oh, yeah. I love to travel. So, yes.
Apparently so.
My whole goal
All right,
is to
kid, you're good. I'll send you one from here somewhere. All right.
Yeah, I was just this past weekend in Philadelphia, and I was like, I want to go to Philadelphia, and I was able to go, and I added my little bumper to my fridge.
Of course you did.
Now the real reason why she's there, because that's the best Wi-Fi unless it's a storm.
That's true. That is true.
So, Sheri, do we have you?
Like alien sign.
Yeah. All right, Sheri, you guys are trying. 3, 2, 1. I'm going back to Derrick. All right, Derrick, go ahead. Let's talk about this. More on kids. Talk about what the city of Beloit means. Why it's
important. I tell you what, Brian, here's what I'm going to do. Because I actually grew up in Racine, Wisconsin, but Susan is a native of Beloit. And I know, Brian, you have a connection with Racine, but I'm going to let Susan go ahead and talk about why Beloit is important.
So I'm sorry, Brian, can you repeat that question again? I was a little distracted.
Talk about why the city of Beloit is important, because, Rachel has a kid, who's 7, another one that's 16. And it's all about this. Angelica was a kid growing up in Chicago, but before that in Mexico. Terry's always been in Redondo. It's really about inspiring kids to do the best that they can do. Sheri's got a book that she wrote that, Rachel has read it to her son, Cooper. I think it's great. Unfortunately, they're having bad sound, but she can always put that book up there and show it no matter what. Huh, Sheri? Mm-hmm. So, Susan, talk about that.
Well, exactly. I think one thing that we're so blessed in our community is we have such a supportive community. I'm constantly asking people to help out with job shadow opportunities, or, talking with students about, different careers or different opportunities. And I can honestly say I've never had anybody like turn me down. They've maybe said, you know what, I'm not able to help you, but I certainly know somebody that can. And that's the way Beloit has been. I mean, I was born and raised here, and I married, and I had 3 children. They went to school here. So my roots are here, and Beloit sometimes gets a bad rap. But we've grown immensely. If you come to Beloit and if you visited 10 years ago and you came today, you wouldn't recognize it. It is absolutely beautiful. I know, Brian, you were down at the Iron Tech complex, and the Ironworks campus is where Career Tech is, and that's where BIFF, Beloit International Film Festival, hosts, and it's industrial. It has that industrial feel.
It's a beautiful place.
It is, and you know, the whole downtown has been transformed. But I can honestly say, you know, it really is. Yes, the buildings are great, but it's the people, and you will not find a more, you know, kind, dedicated group of individuals that are just willing to help kids, because it really is about kids. We always say that. You know, Diane Hendricks is the supporter of Hendricks Career Tek, and she will always say that we need to support them because they are our future.
Terri, talk about fitness. Why it's important? What made you get into fitness?
I've been in fitness since I was a kid. I've always been active. I was like a water baby when I was a kid. My mom could never get me out of the pool. So kind of started there. It started with swimming. So, and then I started weight training kind of in college, but I didn't start competing until my 40s. So, but it's important. It just, I think it keeps you young. It keeps my energy up. It helps my stress. And I like to also like encourage women that want to do a fitness show, because I was always afraid to do it. And when I did my first show at 45 years old, I thought I was too old to do it. And I won the show over a bunch of 22-year-olds. So anybody out there that wants to compete, it's never too late. There's women on stage that are 60 years old. I mean, it's a sport. Like Angelica knows, she's training for a show right now too. It's something that it's really going to test you. It's going to test your mental strength, because a lot of it is your diet, and people don't realize, they think it's all about the weight training, and it's not. It's like 80% about this experiment on eating. And it's, you know, it's how can I put this? You're gonna feel really strong after you do it mentally. So
talk about you being a red carpet host and why that's important for you, because you're really, really good. I think Derrick, and I'm not saying this just to say this, I think you really are one of the best in the world. And for Derrick and Susan and Sheri, she has over 3 million views and counting. I don't even have the time to count her new numbers because it would take me forever to do.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's like my forte. I love to talk to people. I love to find out what makes them tick. I mean, the red carpets are so much fun. Tonight I'm going to be doing one for Game On Gala. I got really depressed during COVID because I couldn't be on person talking to people on the red carpet. But yeah, that's like one of my specialties. My specialties is, you know, the fitness and entertainment hosting. I mean, I've done acting too when I was younger, but I prefer more doing the hosting aspect of it.
Hey, Terri, we're going to have a red carpet here next year when you come. So
great. I'm ready.
And it's all yours.
I'm ready for it.
All right.
No, we're actually setting up some really good stuff. I mean, Rob and I were talking about things, and I'm like, this is something that the girls would do. I want to see if I can get Tasha to perform. I'm already setting something up for Angelica, you know, for Rachel when she writes her books. I want Rachel to actually cook. Rob, she might have to take over the house to cook her Rachel's recipes. Sheri, you know, I've got something for you for the book barn that I know you would like. I was really talking to the owner. His name is Randy White about this, because you've got 2 books. I have not read her books, but I like what she's doing. I like her as a person. And when I like someone, I want to help promote them no matter what happens.
And quite honestly, it's small town, but they have huge followings. People come from all over New England to come to this bookstores. And it's a big deal. And Howard, we just want to come and see what you're going to wear.
Okay. All right.
All
and
right.
I have books too.
There you go.
That's right. All right, Howard, talk about your love of books, and then Angelica going to you, and then Sheri and Rachel, we're going to try you one more time. All right, Howard, talk about why you love books, because you're coming to Connecticut next year.
I'm in several books. I'm actually in Andrew Martin, one of the world's 35 leading interior designers, volume 3. You can pick it up anywhere. It's in different languages. I'm in Patricia Hart Macmillan. My home is in a Christmas book. And then I'm in and then I self-wrote a book, but that one's not available now because I had a business partner and she kept most of them. But that's a long story. But anyway, but I have some books out, and I've been many different magazines. So,
Angelica, talk about what it's like to be you, to write your book, the stuff that you've gone through, and you're in fitness too now.
Yeah. So how it is to be me. You know, people think I live this like lavish life, and what I do is I create content, and you know, Tosh and I have like this huge following on Instagram because we're like in LA, then we're in Nashville, then we're in Miami, then we're just everywhere. But what it is we're really just promoting this is life to the fullest, and really just following your dreams, because you know, for Susan and Derrick, you know, I grew up in a very rough neighborhood, and people were getting shot in my neighborhood. When I went to high school, we had the highest pregnancy rate in the country. And so, you know, to speak to these students and these children that are coming up, and they believe that they're not going to amount to do anything. And, you know, I went to go work for the government. I became a world-class interrogator. I became an international bestseller. From my background is really extraordinary. But I always go back to my roots, you know, and it's like my parents came and they hustled and they grind and they got all three of us through college. And it's crazy. I think people are more interested in finding out how it is to be an interrogator and read people and all that stuff. But in reality, at the end of the day, I told people I was a writer because I was writing reports of investigation. So it was interesting when I transitioned to being an author. It was very natural for me because I was a storyteller for the government. I was telling stories for the last 16 years. So it was very easy for me to tell my story. And I'm a very, you know, I'm all about vibes and energy. You know, I always tell people I bring the vibes, you know, and Tosh and I and Rachel and Terri, when we get together, it's just like a party. Howard knows this because we're party people. And so it's amazing to just be in our shoes, because we're really just working from the ground up and trying to build these different ideas and just all these different realms for us. And Terry's doing the NFT stuff. And I just want to talk about Las Vegas, because I don't think Tosh like really got into it. So I grew up in Chicago, and DJ Extreme is one of the most world-renowned DJs. He also grew up in Chicago. He's a close friend of mine. So we grew up with nothing. And now DJ Extreme is this huge DJ, and he's putting together this whole week in Vegas for Latin Grammys, where they invite 8 artists and they get to perform 3 nights in a row. They have 10 interviews. They get on TVs, the TV production, and the opportunity is insane. And it's like, you get to meet celebrities. We get invited to all the VIP parties, and then there's labels there and there's producers there. So the exposure is insane. So to get Tosh there is going to be huge. So I just want to throw it out there to just share her page and support her in this, because we are going, and it's going to be amazing. Like, the content we are going to create is going to be out of this world.
Yes. It's important. It's important. I mean, for you guys, you can follow me at Vocally Tosh, and I have it on my link on my bio, or on Facebook. I've been sharing it like crazy. But yeah, it's gonna happen no matter what. We're gonna make it work, and I'm excited for this opportunity, because I've been manifesting the Latin Grammys since last year. I've been like, I'm gonna go to Latin Grammys. And Angelica sends me a text, hey girl, this is what's going on. I can get you in front of like labels, producers, you can perform. And I'm like, okay, you know what? Universe is telling me to go up and go do it. So I would love anyone who can support, would really, really, really help me out.
And we got about 5-6 minutes yet. So I'm going to read this because Sheri and Rachel are having audio problems. So Dream Right is a children's book that uses Connecticut psychology and writing to transform children's films into something they want. The imagination works for, not against them. And I think that's why I like the cover. Sheri, show that book one more time, because I like what she's done. And then she has some pieces that she's doing also.
I have some pieces.
So, and that's obviously important. All right, Tosh, give your social media links, and then we're going to show your video. DJ will show her video after she gets her social media links.
Oh yeah, so at Vocally Tosh and all social media platforms. And also my website is natasharumbosmusic.com. Search my YouTube. There's a lot of cool music videos, a lot of cool covers. And find me on Instagram and help me out. Get to Vegas, baby.
Dash babe, breezy.
All right, and with that, all right, I love that, Tosh. Keep it going. And it's about Giving Tuesday, so it's always about the Dreamweaver Artist Ranch. And I always say this, give to the charities that you really like. I love St. Jude's Hospital in Nashville, Tennessee. Howard, which is one of your favorite charities and why?
I like St. Jude's because they give a house away every year. So,
exactly.
Being an interior designer, I actually, there was another drawing when I used to work at a furniture store, and I sold the guy the ticket that won, and he won a house. So that was kind of cool. So I got to participate in that.
And give your social media links.
Howard Wiggins Facebook, and then I want to say that I've got a movie coming out that I'm going to be filming in November. If you go to my Facebook page, it'll tell you about that. And you can watch my video. I have ants in my pants and see me dance.
I do too.
Oh yeah, wait till you see his.
Yeah, Jesus, God.
And
people
so,
like to see me dance.
That's hysterical. That's wonderful.
Yeah.
So with this, so Sheri's website is www.Sheri, SHERI, there you go, -Jacobs.com. And if we can put up Rachel's recipes, that's very, very important because it's all about coffee talk with Rachel Roberts recipes. But we can't forget that because she's a monster when it comes to that. And all these guys out there, you know, she's becoming a phenom, and she's been quiet today only because of this. The audio issues, and I know because I had the same audio issues last week, right, Sheri? You know, right, Rachel? I know what that's like. It's frustrating. So, Terri, give your social media links because I know you got to get going to an event that I was supposed to be at, but I stayed in East Line with my friends.
Yeah, you can find me on all platforms on Nonstop Terri Marie, and then I do have a website which is Terri Marie Official. That's where you can find me. And
Angelica.
Angelica Robles 28 on Instagram and Facebook. And then I also have a website. It's angelicaroblesofficial.com.
Susan Day, give your social media links. If you want to give your personal, that's fine. If not, give what you can.
Yeah, our website is henrickscareertek.org. And we're on Facebook as Hendricks Career Tek.
So Derrick, talk about this. How can people support what you two are doing?
Well, as Susan said, number one, just volunteering to share your story, your career path. One of the things that I think is very interesting is, like Howard said, he wanted to be a veterinarian, and after a year, he decided that's not what he want to do. And so, I think kids need to hear those kinds of stories. That a path isn't a linear path from where I start to getting to a particular career. There's a lot of ebb and flows in that process. And so if people are willing to volunteer, we would certainly love to have you share your career path, your story. As Susan said, even if it's virtually, 2020, we did a lot of things virtually because of COVID. And so I think that we can always easily revert back to that when necessary. And then if I just may ask one question, Brian, to Angelica, what are some of the things that you share in regards to your story and where you grew up? To kind of encourage people, because that's one of the things that Susan and we want to try to do as well, is we always want to encourage students to progress no matter where they start.
Right. So one thing that I've learned in my journey, and I have a master's in forensic psychology, was that a child only needs one person to believe in them. And it doesn't have to be a parent. It could be a teacher. It could be a mentor. It could be anybody, really. And so coming from the background that I came, it's people automatically have this connotation that because you come from a certain background, you're just not going to make it and you're going to be a statistic. And so what you tell that child is, you know, you're limitless. You're a mountain with no top. And no matter what anybody says to you, it's what you really feel about yourself that makes a difference.
Awesome. Thank you.
What I say about this, because we're out of time, I want to thank everybody for being here. For me, and I think it's for Rob and my other friend Rob, it was Don McTavish for me, because if I didn't move to East Lyme, I would have probably been in jail, and I know that. So that's important for me. So
thank you all. We were very blessed to have you. Thank you.
And with this, I always say this before I leave. Everybody have a good night tonight and be safe. Had a better day tomorrow. And if you see someone right out smile, please give them one of yours, because the world needs it. I'm Brian Sebastian. This is Movie Reviews and More.
Keep your feet on the ground and keep reaching for the stars.
And we will see you next week.
Bye.